Welcome back to the Pioneers Sideline. We're going to take a look now into the courthouse case of the week. The Steelers had a little bit of a down year if you're a Pittsburgh fan. Now the draft, it's a little over a while away, but restricted free agency and unrestricted free agency, it's in the air as well here in the offseason for football season. Now let's take a look. What do the Steelers need to do in the offseason here, guys? Let's start with Brittany.
All right, they need linebackers. They have Larry Foote and Lawrence Timmons, who they're only two linebackers to start every game. James Harrison and Lamar Woodley only played 13 games each last season. Their major backups missed a lot of games out well. Between injuries and illnesses, 8 linebackers were out last season. And then the backups who might take the older players' spots have not shown much in the time that they have played.
Brittany, you make a valid point there. The defense, it's starting to age. They need to replace a little bit of it here. Now let's get down the line here. Kelsey, what are you bringing to the table here today?
Well, I see Brittany's point in that, the linebackers, but I still have confidence in the youth that we have in Lamar Woodley and Lawrence Timmons there. I'm taking a more look at the secondary. Let's take a look at the corners and the safeties that the Steelers have. First off, I think Ike Taylor really showed last year that he is an asset to that team, especially when he was gone. People didn't notice how much we needed him, and especially he's older, he's more prone to injury, you got to look at that, and Keenan Lewis, who is a free agent right now. So the Steelers can't sign him, and the cap is a problem this year. I think the secondary is going to take a hit. Also, you look at the secondary and the safeties, Polamalu, who's totally unreliable now, and Ryan Clark, he is a very good safety, but he also plays a very tough game, guys, that could easily get him injured, and he's also over 30.
And he also has that disease where he cannot play at high altitudes. We've seen that take place at Denver when they played a couple times there. But now we hear the defensive side of the issues here, Tim. You staying defense, you thinking offense?
No, I'm switching the ball here, Chris. I got to say, the most offseason need I see is the wide receivers. I look at it and I see that, Mike Wallace is going to be gone. I don't think Antonio Brown can really handle that low as being the #1 wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kelsey does have a good argument there when it comes to the secondary, but they still have the backup Will Allen. I know they have Victorian. Ike Taylor is still a solid cornerback, and then Brett with linebackers, like Kelsey said, good solid linebackers for backups. I think they'll do fine.
Well, I think if you look at it, I'm not really concerned about the receivers in the sense that, Wallace basically wasn't there this year. He didn't show up for camp, and it showed throughout the season. So, yeah, we do need to maybe get a wide receiver during this offseason, but that is not the most need. And the same with the linebackers. I have plenty of faith in the youth that the Steelers have on their linebackers. They have Woodley, they have Timmons. Hopefully Sylvester can step it up and step his game up, and but they really need help in that secondary.
Sylvester, though, however, was out how many times last season between 2 different injuries, and then they have Jason World and Chris Carter, who are very injury prone. And then the one backup inside linebacker with a lot of promise is John Spence, but he didn't even play last year. And we could draft a lot in the first round. There's outside linebacker Ezekiel Onzak from BYU. There's Jarvis Jones from Georgia, who might slip because of his back programs, but he is a sack master.
Let's not forget Manti Te'o's available in the draft this year, coming out of Notre Dame as well. But you look at the offense there, Tim, and the wide receivers. I see where you're coming from a little bit there, but it looks like they just need to add a little bit more depth.
Yeah, if anything, Chris, I would agree with you there. Plexico Burress is an unrestricted free agent as well, so they won't still have them. And you're losing Mike Wallace. No matter what, even though he didn't have a great year last year, you can't cover speed like that. You're going to have to double cover him. And at least Antonio Brown with one-on-one coverage, I would trust Antonio Brown with that, but not the type of coverage he have. I don't think Emmanuel Sanders has the type of role to even step up into the role to being the secondary guy now. So that's what I believe on that role. So I believe they need to find someone in the draft who is at least a good, decent wide receiver to complement Antonio Brown. And if you're talking about linebackers, you say that, but obviously we're talking about Dick LeBeau here. If we're handling defense, one of the greatest defensive coordinators I probably say of all time. He'll find a way on defense to fill in them spots easily, even if they're not in need, because easily the players they have, they would have been substitute them if they didn't need them.
All I'm saying, guys, is I think you take a look at this team, you take a look at the secondary. Did anyone notice that at the end of last season, we had a kid named Josh Victorian playing on the team? Nobody knew him. Everybody knew that he was just the one that every quarterback was going to throw to the wide receiver that Victorian was covering because, hey, he was open and he did not make the plays. If we get that far down on the depth chart, I think it's a serious problem and a serious consideration for the offseason.
And, well, we're going to end it there. The Steelers, they have a lot of off-season needs they need to address. They're also trying to get Ben Roethlisberger to restructure his contract. But in the end, I think we have to agree with Kelsey on this one. The secondary, it just got to that level last year. You listen there, the depth chart just keep going down on it. They really hit their level there. But that's going to do it this week for the Pioneers Sideline. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back next week. Same Pioneer time, same Pioneer channel, same Pioneer Sideline.